says protesters clash with ICE agents at Broadview facility in deportation protests. Dozens of demonstrators block entrances at the Broadview ICE processing center in Illinois early Friday to protest mass deportations under Operation Midway Blitz, a Duck administration initiative targeting undocumented immigrants in sanctuary cities. Federal agents responding with tear gas, pepper balls, and physical force, leading to arrests and injuries, including confrontations involving Democratic congressional candidate Kat Abogazala and Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss. The incident highlights escalating tensions over immigration enforcement, with DHS accusing protesters of aiding criminals and activists, decrying excessive force.
Democrat congressional candidate who was thrown to the ground by an ICE agent, including a Democrat.
Damn, just threw her on the ground, man. A little Asian lady she looked like. Let me
congressional see. Candidate who was thrown to the ground.
Yeah, that looked like a little. Why she stiff up her legs like that?
By an ICE agent.
Oh, man. Damn, that is so sad. That's sad, man. What world are we living in? This is unbelievable. This is unprecedented. Dude got a Captain America. Oh my God, look at this dude, man. And you know, it's crazy how a bunch of Edomites can come out and cause all this chaos and nothing happens to them. Look at this. Every ICE agent will be held accountable. Oh, shit. This got to be National Guard, man. Because who's stupid enough to go out there, wear all this armor, and then come out with fucking paintball guns, man? And tear gas and shit, man. You don't look trained at all. You know, you're not really military. You look like you're playing a part, but you ain't acting like it. And you gotta, how are y'all out of shape like that, man? I don't get that, man. The U.S. military, y'all ain't looking too good, man. You go to West Point, they're running, there's a certain weight class, so you can eat whatever you want and join this shit, man. This is all foolishness, man. Like, what's this little ass girl doing? This dude look like, come on, man. These are like just agents, man. It gotta be. There's no way in hell this is real, man. These people are fake as hell. Esau got a bunch of actors out there, man. Even if, you truly felt like you were going to, you wanted to protest about something, this ain't the way to do it. They're already in the car. It's not like you're going to take them out the car. You're unarmed. You're bringing cameras out. Like, I don't get the mindset of this chaos, man. It's just foolishness. That's what's going on right now, man. A bunch of folly.
Agents are.
It's foolishness, man. But I want to start off I started off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. It's your brother Rabbi Knapp coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, satisfying to the Lord's elect. I don't really know what I'm going into. It's a couple things I want to just take a look at. I've been, watching brothers' videos, and brothers were saying a lot of things. I want to look into what they were actually saying. As a matter of fact, let me see what this H-1B thing is about.
Will these big tech companies train foreign workers? They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans. Stop.
Hold on. You got to pay the government $100,000 and you got to pay the employee. But the student who's coming here is already paying like way more money than what the actual students are. I don't know what the hell is going on. I just know this is somehow robbery, man.
Bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here. $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it. Go ahead, Chuck.
Mr. President, it seems like there's two categories of visa programs. The H-1B
is no
gold card is
no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000.
I don't know, man. This shit's so silly. This is just all stupidity, man. It's dumb, man. And people actually I can't wait to see the looks on your faces when shit starts happening to you. Because you're not even preparing yourself for what's coming. So all these things are going to come to you, and we're going to see how you're going to act when this shit starts to fall on you, man. Because everything that he's doing can be reversed and applied to you, and that's exactly what he's going to do. But anyways, I want to get into Ecclesiasticus. That's what's going on, man. Folly. But I want to go into Ecclesiasticus. As a matter of fact, hold on. It was something I did want to look up. DARPA. What is that? What is DARPA? DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, is a U.S. Department of Defense agency focused on creating breakthrough technologies for national security, established in 1958 as ARPA in response to the Soviet Union's Sputnik satellite. Its mission is to prevent technological surprise and to ensure that the United States is always the one making the surprises. DARPA funds ambitious moonshot projects in diverse fields like computing and robotics with significant societal impacts such as the development of the internet and GPS. Okay, let's see what's on X about DARPA. D-A-R-P-A. Oh, they got a whole damn site here.
Manufacturing Program, or NGMM, is DARPA's boldest step yet towards revolutionizing how the U.S. designs and builds the most advanced microelectronic systems in the world. We are partnering with the Texas Institute for Electronics, or TI, in Austin, Texas, to establish this capability. The NGMM facilities will serve as a national resource, bringing together researchers, startups, and industry to design, prototype, and manufacture next-generation microsystems faster, smaller, and smarter. At the conclusion of the NGMM program, The intent is for TIE to continue to operate NGMM without the assistance of additional government funding, such that the capability will be enduring for our national security needs and commercial innovation with the next frontier of advanced microelectronics.
Sounds good.
Founder of that. So how was Palantir created? Peter Thiel, as an example, Palantir has been in the news, right? He's a co-founder of that. So how was Palantir created? Well, there was this company that was being run, or not company, sorry, it was a government program after 9/11 called Total Information Awareness. It was housed within the Pentagon's DARPA office. And the man they chose to put in charge of that was John Poindexter, who was the highest ranking member of the Reagan administration to be indicted for his role in Iran-Contra, which again, the continuity of government stuff is relevant here. So eventually, it launches and whatever, but people are outraged by it because, as they rightly pointed out, it would eliminate constitutional protections of Americans' rights, specifically the right to privacy, among other things. It was a huge surveillance dragnet, and its goal wasn't just to, surveil everything. It was to predict crime before it happens, predict terror attacks before it happens. I mean, it's like Minority Report was basically the end goal of it. And so after all the pushback, they changed the name to Terrorist Information Awareness and try and rebrand. Oh, it's not total. We are still gonna surveil innocent Americans, but we're focusing on the terrorists. They did all this stuff to try and rebrand it, but Congress defunded it. But hidden in that bill, Congress allowed aspects of it to continue. And essentially, I argue in my work on Palantir that an effort was made to privatize large aspects of TIA as Palantir. Because when Alex Karp and Peter Thiel were setting it up, they went to John Poindexter through this guy named Richard Pearl, who is a long-standing neocon actor with very extensive ties also to the state of Israel. He was caught in the 70s giving classified information to Israel's embassy and should have gone to jail and somehow did not. And had a lot of ties also to Netanyahu's first government. And Richard Pearl is the guy that connected Thiel Karp to Poindexter, and they basically wanted to talk to Poindexter because they wanted to recreate total information awareness and saw him as the godfather of modern mass surveillance. And in doing so, they basically, Peter Thiel teams up with In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital firm. Alex Karp has said on record that the intended clients of Palantir from the beginning was the CIA. And, the CIA was their first client for their first 6 years as a company. Their top developers went to Langley, Virginia, which is CIA headquarters, every 2 weeks to show the CIA their product and have them tweak it to their liking. And during that period of time, one of the top people at the CIA that would have been involved in that is this guy named Alan Wade, who was also intimately involved with total information awareness. And if you look at how total information awareness was described, its privacy protections, it's exactly the same as the way Palantir sold their stuff later on. So there's an insane amount of overlap. And what's crazy here is that Alan Wade, a few years prior, had created a Homeland Security software program that was also pre-crime-esque and similar to what Palantir ended up doing. It was called Kiliad, and he teamed up with Christine Maxwell to do that.
I don't know what the fuck she just said, but clearly it's some government program that they refurbished and made in order to, who knows, man. Clearly Palantir's here to spy on you, but they've been working on it for a long time. When I looked it up, it said somewhere in the 1958. So if it's a DARPA program that's changed, I don't even know who that lady is. I just wanted to see if she knew what DARPA was, but clearly it's a government thing that's supposed to do with security or whatever. What is Project Pandora? Project Pandora refers to several different projects, including an 1960s U.S. Department of Defense research project that studied the potential effects of microwave radiation on a human physiology. The NASA Pandora project, which uses spectroscopy to monitor atmospheric composition in the Pandora Papers, a major investigation into offshore financial dealings. Sounds like some crazy shit, man. Esau got a lot of shit up his sleeve, man. Can anyone break it down in simple terms? What's this? Oh, DARPA. Alright, I don't want to go too far next because I don't know what that should just be popping up on X. Anyways, I want to go to Ecclesiasticus, the 28th chapter. What is Ecclesiasticus 28 chapter about? Summary. Forgiveness and mercy, the dangers of wrath, the powers of the tongue. The power of the tongue. 13 to 26, I'm going to focus on Ecclesiasticus 28, verse 13. Curse the whisperer and double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. Curse the whisperer and double tongue. Let me look into that. Ecclesiasticus 28, verse 3, meaning. Ecclesiasticus, right? 28. I'll put 3. I'm at 13. Ecclesiasticus 28, verse 13, meaning. Backbiting tongue have disquieted many and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities have it pulled down and overthrown the houses of great men. That's not what this is. Is that 14? That's 13. I guess it's mixed up on there, right? Curse the whisperer and double tongue, for such have destroyed many that were at peace. The whisperer is a talebearer, slanderer, gossiper, who spreads words in secret. You know, you can see that. People like to talk shit behind people's backs, and someone like that, that's what a talebearer, slandering you when you can't defend yourself. That's what they do. That's a spirit, man. A double tongue. One who says one thing to one person and something else to another. Deceitful, two-faced speech. Shit. I hate that. Sound like a bitch. This verse commands us to denounce and reject such behavior because whisperers and double-tongued people cause divisions where peace once was. That's true, man. A whisperer. They destroy friendships, marriages, families, and even nations through lies and false reports. Those who were once at peace, living in unity, are torn apart by the venom of the tongue. It shows how evil speech is a form of violence that works quietly but destroys deeply. Yeah. Gotta beware. You don't even want to be in a conversation where someone could be talking shit about somebody else and you involved. It's like putting somebody involved in a damn crime scene. You know? I don't want to be gossiping about other people. Leviticus 19:16, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. It's exactly, a talebearer, a whisperer, same thing, man. Tattleteller, man, always telling about shit. You know, it's better to just not involve yourself in shit that don't pertain to you. If you're that guy that always can, you know, just telling all the damn time, man. And the person who's listening to him, guess what? He gonna tell on your ass too. Damn fool. Proverbs 11 verse 13, a talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Okay, he knows how to shut the fuck up about certain things, man. Not everything is supposed to be spoken about, man. You know, certain things is the Lord revealing something to you. But without you using wisdom, you can find yourself being in this position, man. You know, telling all shit that don't pertain to you, making yourself involved in shit that it ain't got nothing to do with you, man. Proverbs 6 verse 16, the Lord doth hate a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Everyone hates a person that sows discord among brethren, man. People are fine, but you saying one thing to this person and saying another thing, you know, behind everyone's back, and you create a situation where, you know, it creates a rotten environment, man. James 1:8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now, that's a little bit different, because then, you know, you got one foot in the world, one foot in you know, that's kind of being double-minded. You know, whisper in the Greek is pseudoristis, one who secretly spreads gossip or slander. Double tongue, dilogos, two tongues, saying different things to different people. Duplicitous. Look up this word, this duplicitous. Deceitful. Destroyed, to ruin, lay waste, cause to perish. Sirach 20:14 teaches that slanderers and two-faced people are dangerous. They destroy peace and trust wherever they go. The wise are commanded to reject such behavior, because a lying tongue can ruin lives just as surely as violence can. That's why you want to separate yourself from these things, man. You know, that's how you use discernment. You don't want to be around shit like this, man. Do you want me to keep walking through the rest of the tongue, section 15 through 26, verse by verse, since it builds one complete teaching? Yes, I do. A backbiting tongue have disquieted many and driven them from nation to nation. I don't think that's the scripture, man. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I should have put whatever. Strong cities have it pulled down and overthrown the houses of great men. Yeah, the tongue's powerful, man. Meaning, a slandering tongue brings turmoil and unrest, disquieted many. Let me look at this word, disquieted. Disquiet makes someone worried or uneasy. A slandering tongue makes someone worried or uneasy, man. Gossip and false accusations have caused exiles, migrations, and wars driven from nation to nation. Backbiting tongue have disquieted many and driven them from nation to nation. Even powerful cities and leaders have fallen because of treacherous speech. That's the truth, man. And we see that now, you know, especially with the duck. There's a lot of bad mouthing him, man. As a matter of fact, I was gonna go into that. He got 15 billion 15 billion. Trump, ABC. He's trying to stop all that shit.
George Stephanopoulos have reached a settlement with President-elect Trump in his defamation law.
Hold on. ABC agrees to pay 50. This is May. This is more recently. Just in, a federal judge has tossed President Trump's $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. That's what it was. 15 billion Trump. New York Times. Clearly they tossed it, but let's see what it says. President Trump stuns America by bringing a $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times. Trump, the suit is being brought in the, great state of Florida. Sue them into oblivion. Today, I have the great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times, one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country, becoming a virtual mouthpiece for the radical left Democrat Party. I view it as the single largest illegal campaign contribution ever. Their endorsement of Kamala Harris was actually put dead center on the front page of the New York Times, something heretofore unheard of. The Times has engaged in a decades-long method of lying about your favorite president, me, my family business, the America First Movement, MAGA, and our nation as a whole. I am proud to hold this once respected rag responsible, as we are doing with the fake news networks, such as our successful litigation against George Slapodopoulos, whatever, ABC, Disney, and 60 Minutes, CBS, Paramount, who knew that they were falsely smearing me through a highly sophisticated system of document and visual alteration, which was in effect a malicious form of defamation and thus settled for record amounts. They practiced this long-term intent in pattern of abuse, which is both unacceptable and illegal. The New York Times has been allowed to freely lie, smear, and defame me for far too long. And that stops now. The suit is being brought in the great state of Florida. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. So he understands the power of the tongue, man. Okay? Being smeared upon, whether it's true or not. You gotta shut that damn tongue up, man. You know, people get put to death for the things that come out their mouth, man. And what's that scripture? The scripture says, every idle word. Let me grab that. Every idle word. I spelled that wrong. I spelled every wrong. Every idle word. Matthew 12, verse 36, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Yeah, you're going to have to pay for what you say, man. Behind brothers' backs, you know, you got to pay for all these things, man. This is why it's better to just keep your fucking mouth shut, man. We've probably already said enough in our lives that we can't take back, man. Let's learn how to bridle our tongue, man. Matthew 12, verse 36 means that believers will be held accountable to God for every idle or careless word they speak on the day of judgment. The term idle refers to words that are useless, worthless, thoughtless, or unproductive rather than simply unnecessary. This concept is connected to the idea that a person's words are a reflection of their heart's true condition, with verse 37 stating that by one's words they will be justified or condemned. So that's power, man. Grab that. For by the words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned, man. You know, so bridle tongue. Let's see what comes up. Psalm 39:1, to the chief musician, even to Jeduthun A Psalm of David. I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. Let me look at this. What does this mean? Expresses the author's likely King David personal commitment to self-control, especially over their speech. The verse, I said, I will watch my ways so that I may not sin with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a muzzle while the wicked are before me, signifies the desire to guard against harmful words, particularly when surrounded by unrighteous people. This restraint is a form of self-discipline, using the metaphor of a muzzle to illustrate controlling one's speech to avoid sin or to prevent others from taking advantage of one's vulnerable state. Yeah, you gotta watch who you're around, man. While the wicked are before me, this condition highlights that the need for restraint is heightened in the presence of those who are unrighteous or morally wrong. You gotta use wisdom, man. You gotta use wisdom, man. You gotta watch who you're talking about, man. Because that's how it spreads, man. You create an environment where it's okay to just talk about other men of the Lord and shit like that, man. You know, I try to avoid all these things. I really want to apply every scripture that I can to the best of my ability. You know, but some things, some people just do naturally. I never was the type of person to talk shit behind your back. You know, I don't even like talking about you if I ain't around you. You know, unless it's like, if it ain't good, I try to not even say anything. I'd rather, you know, in a perfect world, you know, the way you would tell somebody how you felt about them, you know, not really caring about how everybody else, so you don't waste any time, you know. But this world is phony, man. The world we live in is like, it's fake, man. People are fake. You know, it's not that they're fake. It's like facades. You gotta be able to peel the onion, man. Get to the meat. You know, get to the root of what's going on, man. That's applying wisdom. You know, sometimes the Spirit will reveal things that doesn't need to be uttered with words, man. You just move accordingly. Okay. A backbiting tongue have disquieted many and driven them from nation to nation. Strong cities have it pulled down and overthrown the houses of great men. Just words, man. A backbiting tongue. Let's look. It doesn't break that down, does it? Backbiting, slander spoken in secret. Katalalia, disquieted, troubled, disturbed, overthrown, cast down, ruined. James 3 verse 5, the tongue is a fire, it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature. Yeah, it's like you kindling a fire, man. It's gonna eventually just keep consuming away till it destroys. It's gonna destroy something, man. That's why it's better to just keep your mouth shut. Proverbs 18 verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. That's the truth, man. Death and life, you know, especially if you are on. Sometimes, you know, I've noticed the power of the tongue. Sometimes I'll be just talking, not speaking to anyone specifically, but they hear the words. Sometimes your tone too, man. You might not even be talking to anybody, but this word will cut somebody, man. You know, I mean, it is what it is, man. You know, we know that the Lord encampeth around those. What is that? Psalms 37, I believe. Might be 34 and 7 or something like that. Yeah, the angel, Psalm 34:7, the angel of the Lord Yahweh encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. So, if the angels are dealing with you, there's a lot of situations that can get out of hand. The reason why they don't is because you got the angels around you, man. That doesn't mean you don't apply wisdom. These angels should also be ministering, wisdom to you, so you don't get judged. Okay, but it says the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and we know fear is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. So, that fear is the key point. Psalms 55:2. Let me go over there. Psalms 55 verse. I'll start at the top. To the chief musician of Neginoth, Michelle, a Psalm of David. Let me look into this, man. Neginoth. What was that? Music, song, taunt song, music of stringed instrument. What is Meskel? Open song or poem of contemplation. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not thyself from my supplication. Supplication, what does that mean? I think it means prayer. Favor, supplication, supplication for favor, supplication for favor, grace. Let me look at this word, graciousness, supplication. The act of making a humble and earnest entreaty or prayer for something, especially a deity or someone in power. So the act of making a humble and earnest entreaty or prayer. That's what I thought it was. When you make a supplication, you're asking for something without a malicious intent. Prayer is the only way I can explain it. Psalms 55:2, attend unto me and hear me. I mourn in my complaint. I make a noise because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. They cast iniquity upon me. It's tough, man. The things that David's saying, man, you could feel that, man. That's what oppression's like, man. All the shit that Esau be talking and getting away with, and it's all lies, man. Calling you black, that's a lie. You calling niggas monkeys, that's a lie. That nigga look like a monkey. Shit, this devil be saying, man. All types of fucking lies. You got the whole world believing that shit. That's why you're gonna get fucked up when the kingdom comes. But we gotta suffer all this. It is what it is. Esau's the biggest slanderer too. Sirach 28 verse 16, the backbiting tongue have cast out virtuous women and deprived them of their labors. Let me make sure that's what it says. Okay, Exodus 23:1. False accusations have ruined reputations and dishonored women who lived uprightly. Yeah, that's what false accusations are created to do. Destroy your reputation, dishonor you. Okay. But sometimes you could be trying to destroy someone's reputation, and it backfires, man. There's plenty of times. What's that scripture? He who rolls a stone, the stone will fall on them. KJV, something like that. Proverbs 26 verse 27. Let's get it off the Bible Hub. Proverbs 26, verse 27 in the KJV. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it shall return upon him. So the Lord is going to defend you anyways, man. So a lot of these false accusations, you got to bear them, man. Yahweh Shai, numbered with the transgressors. Isaiah 53, verse 12. This applies to all the elect, man. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. So that's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. Being numbered with the transgressors. Let's see what that means. Because who did he die with, man? He died with people who actually did the crimes that they were accused of. But Yahweh Shai was innocent. But yet he's on the cross with them. Numbered with the transgressors. What's that mean? Describes Yahweh Shai's crucifixion between two criminals, fulfilling a prophecy from Isaiah 53 and 12, and signifies his divine act of becoming a sinner by substitutionally taking on the sin of the world, enabling reconciliation between God and repentant humanity. Ooh, that's a hard lot right there, man. That is a hard lot. It says gossip has robbed people of fruits of their work, dignity, respect, and stability. A wicked tongue can undo years of faithfulness in a moment. Be surprised who would talk shit about you, man. You know, who has no problem. That's just probably what they do. You know, especially some people were raised around a lot of women. You know, their mothers are probably like that. You know, some people they around women too much, and you start develop their way of thinking on certain things, and they kind of like, that's what they do, man. You know, you always around. See, the men are old. They weren't around their women like we are today. You know, we always around this damn chick. Ancient time, you couldn't be around her like that, especially when she was on her period. You had to put her away. You know, nowadays all that time, it's this shit is fucked up out here, man. Exodus 23 verse 1: Thou shalt not raise a false report. Damn, that's a commandment, man. A false report, man. That just shows you what type of mindset you're in, man. It's just wicked. You raising a false report. This man is A, B, and C. You know? No proof. Just all falsehoods, man. You see that a lot with women. Women will talk shit about another chick that's her friend and then go out and act like she wouldn't, and just talk a whole bunch of shit about you. That's just a normal thing they do. And they all talk shit about each other and then act like they're all friends when they're not. A lot of shit they be lying too. 1 Timothy 5 verse 14, warning against slander and idleness among women. Let's look at that. 1 Timothy 5 verse 14, I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Let's look at this. I mean, if I go to tools, what does it give me? Let's go in the commentary. Let's see what it... I don't want David Guzik. You ain't got no commentary, just... let's go here. Commentary on 5 verse 12. Having bringing themselves and so bear as a burden, judgment of God weighing like a load. All right, younger woman. Bear children, give no occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, literally for the sake of reproach. If the handle were given, the adversary would use it for the sake of reproach. The adversary is eager to exaggerate the faults of a few and to lay the blame on the whole church and its doctrines. Let me look this up. 1 Timothy 5 verse 14 encourages younger widows to marry, have children, and manage their households to give the adversary no opportunity for slander. Yeah, because if you women were doing what you were supposed to do, no one can talk shit about you. Everything they'll be saying about you would pertain to you being married, having children, managing your household. Hey, the Bible is and encourages that, to give the adversary no opportunity for slander. You won't have time to be around people who are gossiping like that. Okay, you would want to be around other people who are doing the same thing as you, so when you do spend time with them, it's valuable time. It's not like the people who have time to slander, they got too much time on their hands. The passage found with Paul's instructions for handling church resources and supporting widows advises younger widows to focus on domestic responsibilities, thereby preventing idleness, gossip, and potential criticism against the Christian community. So the Lord understands how the woman's mind works. You ain't supposed to be idle. 1 Timothy 5 verse 15, for some are already turned aside after Satan. Ain't that the truth? In the KJV, with variations like strayed after Satan or turned away to follow Satan. In other versions, this verse serves as a warning within larger discussion on caring for widows, suggesting that some younger widows, by falling or by failing to marry and manage their homes, have become idle, turned to follow falsehoods, and are thus following Satan's path. That's right. And majority of you women are unmarried. So you're all following Satan's path. And if you do get married, you get married to someone that's not your husband, man. You done gave it up to some buster down the road, and that's your husband. Oh, man. Proverbs 31:10, a virtuous woman is far above rubies. Ain't that the truth? Ah, shit, I fucked up. Accidentally clicked out of that. Where am I? Proverbs 31. And 11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. I don't know, man. That's hard to find. Virtuous, morally strong, upright, Hebrew parallel, child, strength, excellence, virtue, deprived, stripped, robbed. Ecclesiasticus 28 verse 17, whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest and never dwells quietly. Those who listen to gossip and slander will lose peace of mind. See, just listening to that bullshit Whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest and never dwell quietly. Listening to that shit, man. You gotta block your ears from that shit. That's hard to do, man. Some people do it unknowingly, man. People just programmed to do certain shit. You know. That's why it's good to constantly be in the scriptures so you can avoid these pitfalls that a lot of brothers fall into, man. There's just so much to know, and it seems like it's gonna be so little time to achieve this knowledge, man. Cause overnight, man, this shit gonna be done. You ain't gonna have nobody to get this wisdom, man. If you think you got time to achieve this word, then you probably are not operating in wisdom, man. Because it seems like every day it's getting harder and harder to make time to get this word, man. They live in constant suspicion, unrest, and turmoil. Lending your ears to a whisperer steals your own peace. That's right. You know, you gotta protect your peace, man. Okay, Proverbs 26:20. Where no wood is, there the fire goeth out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. That's right, man. Keep them niggas away from you, man. Anyone gossiping like that, talebearing on people, man, you don't want to hear that shit. You know, there's no peace there. There's a lot of chaos in the world, and then you got to deal with bringing more, trying to take your peace away from you. That shit's evil, man. Isaiah 57:20, but the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest. The wicked are like the troubled sea. Let me get this. The verse uses the metaphor of a turbulent, increasingly churning sea to describe the wicked, emphasizing their internal chaos, lack of peace, and the destructive nature of their actions. That's right, man. Who the fuck want to be around somebody wicked like that, man? Clearly, you ain't got no peace in your body, in your spirit, if you talebearing on people. And if your peace comes from taking somebody else's peace, that's just misery loving company. Misery loves company, man. Let me make them a little more miserable so they can feel like me. I'll steal their peace in order to feel. That's just evil, man. Restlessness and turmoil, the core images of the sea's inability to be still, symbolizing the inner agitation and lack of peace experienced by those who are wicked. They're wicked, man. Inner chaos, just as the sea's waters churn up mud and dirt, the wicked are characterized by an internal state of turmoil and the production of negativity. They have to be wicked, man. They have to. Any type of peace, if you're a peaceful brother, man, you're going to know when somebody ain't at peace because the way they act towards you. When you truly at peace with your spirit, man, like, nobody's really truly at peace. This is not your rest, but if they can, it's the Lord, man. The Lord might have you in a state of a little more calmer than them. That's why it's good to be humble, man, because the spirit reveals a lot of stuff when you're humble, man. The more humility is such a great power, man. It really exposes other people, you know. That's why it's good to be humble. It really is, man. The more humble you are, the more you can hear, the more you can see, the more the Lord can reveal things to you, and you don't even need to fight. You don't even need to argue. You know, you'll understand more spiritually that this is just where certain people are in their lives, man. You know, avoid Avoid the situation. You'll learn how to avoid a situation that you can see. No one can see the situation. You know, you can see far out. Like, you be prudent with certain situations, then you'll remove yourself from even having to experience the situation that's far worse than what you're currently experiencing. You know, and that's why it's another good reason to bridle your tongue, man. It's good to keep quiet on when it's time to speak. The spirit should be, certain shit, it needs to be spoken about. It needs to be brought out. But some things are like, you just know, like, damn, this shit's, something about this shit's evil, man. Maybe it can be revealed, but you really ain't got the physical evidence to back up the spiritual understanding of what you see is going on. Okay. Yeah, I can think of situations where, I was in around certain people and I just knew they weren't right. Just knew they weren't right just through the spirit. They had no evidence, but I don't need to be around that shit. Because then either A, I got to get carnal, or B, you got to get carnal. Like, eventually, something carnal gonna happen, bro. And if you know yourself well, then you know how to remove yourself. As you get older, you learn these things, man. Certain things are just, you got to forgive, when you can. But that don't mean you still don't use discernment. Contrast with God's peace, diverse implicity. Contrast the wicked's chaotic state with the true peace that can only be found in the Lord, man. That's it. Symbolism of the sea in biblical literature. The sea can symbolize disorder and chaos, making the comparison to the wicked's unrest more potent. Destructive nature, the mire and dirt that the sea's waves toss up can be seen as a symbol of the wicked, harmful deeds and words which have a destructive effect on themselves and others. Great analogy. Word focus. Hearkeneth to give heed. Listen attentively. And rest, peace, tranquility. Ecclesiasticus 28, verse 18. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones. Physical punishment leaves scars, but heals. Words, however, can crush the spirit, reputation, and even lives. A deeper destruction. The tongue wounds more than weapons. Damn. There is, Proverbs 12 and 18, there is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. There is that speaketh like the piercing of a sword. But the tongue of the wise is health. And I don't remember that. I don't remember ever reading this precept. There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword. I mean, you could feel that when certain people say certain things, it might hurt you more than everyone else. You could feel that, man. But the tongue of the wise is health. It tells you in Hebrews 4 and 12 that it's like this word is like a two-edged sword. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing of soul and spirit, in the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. And these scriptures are very sharp through the spirit, man. You know, they'll cut you soul and spirit, man. This word, it'll hurt, man. Proverbs 15:4, wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but the perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. You know, we try to speak with peace, but at the same time, this is only for the elect. It's gonna, I mean, this word can cut even the elect, you know, but it's to heal you, you know. And, you know, but for the wicked, man, this ain't, there's nothing good. It's just piercing you. Stroke, blow, strike, breaketh, crushes, shatters. This brings us to verses 15 through 18. Would you like to continue verse 19 through 26, the closing section of the tongue teaching, so you'll have the full passage explained verse by verse? Yes. I'm just going to finish this, see what it says. It's already at an hour. All right. Well, I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this